Everybody thinks getting older in the car world means one thing. Trade the fun car for a tall, boring crossover you can barely find the volume knob on. Here's a number that should bother you. Roughly 217,000 people are injured every year just getting in and out of their own vehicle, and adults 65 and up make up more than a quarter of those injuries, up from around 12% just 20 years ago, according to a 2025 study in the journal Innovation in Aging. The industry's answer was always the same: sit up higher, buy the SUV, pay the markup. What nobody ever told you is that the fix was never a taller crossover. It was the right wagon the whole time. Today I'm showing you 9 performance wagons, real turbo engines, real V8 engines, real all-wheel drive, that also happen to be some of the easiest cars in the country to climb into. No back pain, no regrets, and you don't lose an ounce of fun getting there. Let's start easy. So how do you actually judge whether a car is easy on an aging body? It's not ground clearance, and it's not how tall the thing looks sitting in a parking lot. Consumer Reports auto test engineer Jennifer Stockberger put it about as simply as it can be put. A seat that lines up with your hip when you're standing lets you get in and out without crouching or climbing. Engineers call that alignment the hip point, and it's been measured and standardized for decades. A sports car might have a step-in height of 9 or 10 inches, which sounds easy on paper, but it forces a drop and pivot motion that's rough on hips and knees. The wagons that actually work for an aging body usually put the seat cushion somewhere around 28 to 32 inches off the ground. That's the real test we're using today, not how big the car looks, but where your seat actually sits. Number 1. The 1994 to 1996 Buick Roadmaster Estate Wagon. Under the hood is the 5.7-liter LT1 V8, the same basic engine family Chevy put in the Corvette, detuned here to 260 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque, sent through a 4-speed automatic to the rear wheels. Stick to the 1994 through 1996 model years specifically. Anything older used the weaker 180 horsepower L05 engine, and the 1996 model added onboard diagnostics but dropped 5 pound-feet in the process. Not a big deal either way. Here's why this wagon opens the list instead of closing it. This is a body-on-frame land yacht with a bench seat that sits at sofa height, doors that swing open wide enough to walk through sideways, and a suspension so soft it basically apologizes for every pothole. There's no touchscreen to fight with, just knobs and buttons a 5-year-old could operate blindfolded. The woody trim versions get all the attention at car shows, but the plain ones drive exactly the same and cost less. Clean, well-kept examples are running somewhere between $10,000 and $25,000 right now, and that number keeps climbing as fewer good ones are left. If you want the single easiest car on this entire list to fall into and climb back out of, this is it. But we're just getting started. Not even close. Number 2. The 2005 through 2008 Dodge Magnum R&T. This one runs the 5.7-liter Hemi 5.8, 340 horsepower, 390 pound-feet, rear-wheel drive standard with all-wheel drive available, and a 5-speed automatic. Doors are wide, the seats are genuinely comfortable for long drives, and everything inside is a physical button. No menu diving required. I will give you the one honest knock against it. The beltline is high and the glass is smaller than the Buick's, so visibility isn't quite as forgiving for an older driver checking blind spots. On reliability, watch for what owners call the Hemi tick. That's the multi-displacement system's roller lifters wearing down and taking a cam lobe with them, and it's a repair that can run into the thousands. Early 2005 and 2006 cars also had some reported stalling issues after refueling, and there have been 5 separate federal recall campaigns on the Magnum over the years, mostly Takata airbags and an ignition switch fix. If you want the 6.1-liter SRT8 instead, with 425 horsepower, it skips the multi-displacement system entirely and avoids that particular lifter problem. Clean R&T wagons are trading in the $8,000 to $20,000 range right now. Real V8 muscle for the price of a used crossover with none of the character. For a while it might seem like comfort and performance always trade off against each other. That's about to stop being true. Number 3. The 2021 and newer Mercedes-Benz E450 All-Terrain. Under the hood is a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 with a mild hybrid boost system, 362 horsepower, 369 pound-feet, running through 4 MATIC all-wheel drive. Standard air suspension raises the whole car for easier entry and drops the rear for loading, so the hatch has one of the lowest lift-over heights in this class, and the double-glazed windows keep the cabin about as quiet as anything on this list. The ride quality is close to floating for a performance wagon. My one honest caveat is the twin-screen MBUX system. It looks incredible, but it buries some basic functions in menus, and that's exactly the kind of complexity an older driver doesn't want to be fighting with at a stoplight. Used examples are running north of $50,000 right now, so this is the expensive end of the list, but you are getting genuine 360 horsepower comfort with almost none of the compromise. Everything on this list is building toward one wagon that does all of this without the price tag, but that's still a couple of picks away. Number 4. The 2015 through 2018 Audi A6 Allroad. This one runs a 3-liter supercharged V6, anywhere from 306 to 333 horsepower depending on the model year, and 325 pound-feet, sent through Quattro all-wheel drive. 0 to 60 comes in around 5.3 to 5.7 seconds, which is quick for something this comfortable. Standard adaptive air suspension raises the ride height for easier entry and exit, and it gives you one of the tallest, most commanding driving positions on this list, with a cabin that is genuinely quiet at highway speed. Stick to the 2015 and newer refresh if you can, because it brought an updated infotainment system that is easier to navigate. I do want to warn you off its predecessor, the early 2000 SA6 Allroad with the 2.7 Turbo V6. That car is a maintenance pit, turbos, timing components, and an air suspension that fails constantly. Even on this newer generation, budget for supercharger clutch wear and eventual air suspension service around the 80,000 to 120,000 mile mark. Prices land in the middle of the pack for this list, and for what you are getting, that is a real bargain. Number 5, and this is the one I'd put my own money on. The 2020 through 2024 Subaru Outback XT, 2.4-liter turbocharged flat 4, 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet, standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, and a CVT that actually knows how to get out of its own way. Motor Week clocked the 2024 XT at 6 seconds flat to 60, and independent testing on the 2020 put it right around 6.1. That's not a slow crossover pretending to be sporty. That's a genuinely quick wagon. Now here's why it earns the middle of this list instead of just being another fast car. Consumer Reports has put the Outback's sibling, the Forester, on its list of best cars for older drivers, and the Outback shows up on nearly every mainstream senior-friendly list you can find, right alongside its turbocharged sibling. Seat height sits around 30 inches, the doors open wide, the glass is tall, standard eyesight driver assist watches your blind spots for you, and most of what you touch every day is still a physical knob or button. I'll give you the one knock: the HVAC controls are buried a little deeper in the touchscreen than they should be. But that's a minor complaint on a wagon that's genuinely quick, genuinely all-wheel drive, and priced between roughly $17,000 and $34,000 used, depending on mileage and trim. This is the wagon that proves the whole point of this video. You were never actually choosing between fun and comfort. You just didn't know where to look. If you're the type who wants a straight answer instead of 40 minutes of maybes, hit subscribe. I put a video like this out every week. Alright, so here's where things get interesting, because the next 4 wagons push further into raw performance, and easy entry starts costing you a little more. Number 6. The 2017 and newer Volvo 590 Cross Country. This one pairs a turbocharger and a supercharger on the same 2-liter 4-cylinder, 316 horsepower, 300 pound-feet all-wheel drive standard, running through an 8-speed automatic. 0 to 62 comes in around 6.3 seconds. The Cross Country's raised ride height does the same job the All-Road's air suspension does: easier in, easier out, and Volvo's seats are consistently rated among the most supportive in the industry, the kind that don't leave you stiff after 3 hours on the highway. The cabin is quiet, and the interior is about as minimalist and uncluttered as anything on this list, with pilot assist keeping an eye on the lane for you. My caution here is the portrait touchscreen. It controls almost everything, and there's a real learning curve if you're not used to menu diving for basic functions. Used prices are running roughly $16,000 to $30,000, which puts real Volvo safety engineering and real turbocharged performance well within reach. The comfort we've been talking about is about to get a lot more optional. The next 2 wagons trade some of it away for pure speed. Number 7. The 2006 and 2007 Volvo 570R. 2.5-liter turbocharged 5-cylinder, 300 horsepower, 295 pound-feet, Volvo's Haldex all-wheel drive system, and your choice of a 6-speed manual or automatic. 0 to 60 lands around 5.7 to 5.9 seconds. Quick for a car this boxy. Seating position is upright and old-school Volvo. Genuinely supportive seats, simple physical buttons, none of the touchscreen fuss you'll find on the newer cars on this list. Here's where I need you to be specific about the years. Stick to 2006 and 2007 only. The automatic transmission got a revised valve body those years that fixed a lot of early complaints, and the Haldex all-wheel drive system was improved as well. Earlier V70Rs are more prone to trouble. Speaking of trouble, the adjustable 4C suspension on all model years has a reputation for riding harsher than it should in every setting, and the all-wheel drive system's angle gear and Haldex pump can fail quietly enough that you won't notice until the rear wheels stop getting power. Manual versions are the most collectible and command a premium among enthusiasts. Prices are running roughly $8,000 to $18,000, and that's still one of the most usable 300 horsepower wagons money can buy. You'll look back at everything comfortable about this list and realize the last 2 wagons don't care about any of it. They're here to show off. Number 8. The 2011 through 2014 Cadillac CTS-V wagon. 6.2-liter supercharged LSA V8, 556 horsepower, 551 pound-feet, rear-wheel drive, your choice of a 6-speed manual or automatic, and 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 4 seconds flat. I'm not going to pretend this one is easy to climb into. It sits low, and if your car came with the optional Recaro seats, those hard-side bolsters make entry and exit tougher than everything else on this list. What it does have going for it is magnetic ride control, magnetically adjustable dampers that genuinely soften the ride in daily driving mode without giving up any of that 556 horsepower when you want it. This is the pick for the driver who still wants a fight, not the driver looking for the path of least resistance. Watch for supercharger heat exchanger failures, usually announced by a whining noise, and check the rear differential bushings on higher mileage cars. Sports car market puts total production at around 2,139 cars, though other sources count it differently, so treat that number as a ballpark. What isn't in dispute is that these wagons are genuinely rare and genuinely appreciating, with clean examples running anywhere from roughly $48,000 to $95,000, depending on mileage and whether it's a manual. Number 9. I am saving this one for last on purpose. The 2017 through 2023 Mercedes-Benz AMG 63S wagon, a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8, 603 horsepower, 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive, and 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 3.4 seconds. That is supercar territory in a wagon body. Standard air suspension helps here, the way it helped the all-road and the all-terrain, raising the car slightly for entry, though you are still dealing with sport seats and a lower overall stance than the Buick or the Outback. The twin-screen MBUX and command interface is genuinely impressive, but it is not simple. And if fussy menus frustrate you, this is the wagon where that frustration shows up the most. If $90,000 and up feels like too much, the earlier W212 generation from around 2012 to 2016 runs closer to $38,000 to $50,000 and still delivers a proper AMG V8. I am putting this one last because it is not the practical answer. I am putting it here because if money genuinely is not the object, this is the wagon that proves you can still have 600 horsepower and air suspension smoothing out the ride on the way to buy groceries. So there they are, 9 wagons that prove you were never actually choosing between performance and comfort. Somebody just never told you where to look. If your knees and hips are the priority, the Roadmaster and the Outback are where I'd start looking today. If you still want a genuine fight in the corners, and you don't mind sitting a little lower, the CTS-V and the E63S are sitting right there waiting for you. None of this makes the crossover in your neighbor's driveway a bad car. It just means somebody sold him a taller box and never once mentioned the wagon that already had his hips lined up with the seat cushion for a lot less money. Which one on this list would you actually put in your driveway? Let me know down in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.